It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, time to do cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show. Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. This morning's team includes Misfits, Rapscallions, Ne'er-Do-Wells. That's Genia, the intern, Sean Walker, here in the studio. So what's on the show today? Well, first of all, it is another family service day coming up. We're going to be talking to the guys from Certified Automotive Repair in Salem. Find out how you can get your vehicle serviced for free if you need to do that. We're also going to be talking about Mudfest. Mudfest is an annual competition in which the journalists in the Northwest get together and judge for a final winner to be the Outdoor Activity Vehicle of the Year. We'll talk about categories. There were 6 of them. We'll talk to some of the winners, and we'll find out who was the overall winner. Now, the average cost of repairing a car in Oregon is $2,250.52. In Washington State, that number is $2,394.09. But not everybody can afford to pay those bills. In 2012, Americans paid an average of $537 for car maintenance on one single vehicle in one single year. So if you don't earn enough money to maintain your car or repair it, you might be looking for a bit of help. And that may come in the form of Brian and Ben from Certified Automotive Repair. They are on our show to talk about the system that they have, or a service day that they have, where you can bring your vehicle in and get it serviced. It's called Family Service Day. Brian and Ben, welcome to the show. So Family Service Day, this is how many have you done of these?
This will be our 3rd one.
And the first 2 were very successful.
Yep.
What's the principle? Outline Family Service Day for me.
Family Service Day basically was founded to just help families in need. We partner up with a nonprofit, typically was how it started. And our nonprofit's Habitat for Humanity. But the last week or 2 before the event, we opened it up to the public, and we do have some spaces open, Nick.
So this is where someone brings their vehicle down, and what do you do for it?
Essentially, all cars that get checked out on Family Service Day will get a free oil change service and a safety inspection. If there's something of safety concern that we can resolve for them in their hour time slot, then we go ahead and do that for them at no cost.
So you give people an hour, you find out what's wrong with their car, you'll do a basic maintenance check, and then some sort of belt tightening and an oil change. And then if there's anything major, at least they know what's going on in the car, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you do try and repair as much as you can within that hour.
Yes.
All right, so you have a bunch of people that have helped you. Obviously, Habitat for Humanity are your chosen sponsor for the event, but there are other people that get involved with this too, aren't there?
Well, we do have some sponsors, and one of our sponsors is Pioneer Trust Bank there in Salem.
And they've helped you a little bit towards some of the costs of doing this?
Yes, absolutely. They've been a helpful sponsor with the past event and hopefully in the future, and we really appreciate them. But typically, like Ben said, we can, within that hour time slot, we can do, if we find some safety concerns, we can address quite a few things.
So now we know what you're going to do. What's the process of getting on to those spaces? Because you have a limited number of spaces. People have to register. You can't just show up to do this. So what do they do to get their car service for free next Saturday?
Essentially, they just need to give us a call, Nick, and we'll set up an appointment time and let them know what's available. And then they just show up about 10 minutes before their appointment time, and we get the car checked in, and then it comes into the building.
All right, so give me all the digits of where they need to call and what they need to do.
Phone number is 503-399-2149, Certified Automotive Repair. Or you could find us on the web at www.carsalem.com. Call the shop, ask for Ben or Brian.
All right, give us the phone number again one more time.
503-399-2149.
All right, so if you have a car that you cannot afford to get serviced and you think it may need just this isn't something that you need lots of repairs with, this is something just a general service, but bring it in. The guys, make an appointment before you do that. The guys have approximately 10 appointments left. Is that right? So first come, first served?
Yes.
First come, first served. Again, you need to call these guys at Certified Automotive Repair in Salem, 503-399-2149, and get that appointment. So how many incredible unsafe cars have you found during this when you open the hood and you go, whoa?
Well, there's been a couple of cars that we've been able to get back up in a good, safe condition for the drivers to be driving them. Typically speaking, we'll have 2 technicians per car for that hour time slot. And, we've had vehicles that we've done front and rear brake work, renewing pads, resurfacing rotors and whatnot.
Because stopping's important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the major systems that we're looking at to try and make sure that it's adequate and up to par.
All right.
Have you had any cars that just come in with no brakes whatsoever, just straight metal on metal?
Metal on metal.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at our last Family Service Day event, there was at least 5 or 6 people that walked out with, free brake work because their cars just needed it when they came in. So,
I mean, it's just scary thinking that we're driving out there right now with people that just don't even take care of their brakes or obviously can't even afford it. But, I mean, it's a good service that you guys are doing for that right there.
It sounds like a really good service that you're doing for everybody. So, and of course, if you don't need your car servicing for free, you can go to Family Service Day. You can go to Certified Automotive Repair, not just on Family Service Day, but any day, to make sure that you get everything done right. Full Automotive Shop. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We're going to take a break and going to talk about Mudfest in our next break, but I'm going to give you that phone number one more time. If you would like to get an appointment to have your vehicle serviced at Certified Automotive Repair in Salem on Family Service Day next weekend, 503-399-2149. You're listening to FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL, your automotive radio show. I'm in studios in downtown Portland for the latest automotive news. Follow us, Test Miles, on the Twitters.
Here's a fun fact so you can impress your friends with. The Jaguar XJ220 was the world's fastest production car in 1992 with a top speed of 217 miles per hour.
Now, Sean and I spent 3 days in the Olympic Peninsula test driving some of the best CUVs, SUVs, and trucks. This is the Northwest Automotive Press Association Mudfest, a competition to find the Northwest Activity Vehicle of the Year. The rest of this morning's show will be dedicated to talking to some of the winners of that. Now, there were a lot of categories. Let's get to one of the categories, which was a big one. First of all, we had the Compact Utility Vehicle of the Year and the Northwest Family Utility Vehicle of the Year. Now, there's a lot of vehicles entered into these different categories. I'll read them off quickly so we can jump to our guests who are waiting on the phone. For the Compact, the competition includes the Honda HR-V, the Hyundai Santa Fe Sport, Jeep Renegade Trailhawk, the Mazda CX-5, and the Mitsubishi Outlander. The winner of that category was the Jeep Renegade Trailhawk. And then for the family utility vehicle, the Ford Edge, the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, the Kia Sorento, the Nissan Murano, and the Subaru Outback. And of that one, Jeep took it again with the Cherokee Trailhawk. And our friend Jim Morrison joining us on the phone from Jeep. Congratulations on winning the 2 categories there, Jim.
Nick, what a great result for the 2 Jeep, particularly the new Jeep Renegade. And with the changes that you guys made out there with the judging with the on-road and the off-road, it's great. Obviously, Jeep always loves winning anything that starts with mud, to help prove our capability. But to have it win, against a serious set of competitors in both on-road and off-road, with all of the different criteria looked at by the group, it was a nice honor. So thank you very much.
And the big news from the day is being that the overall winner for the entire competition and the vehicle named as the Outdoor Activity Vehicle of the Year for the Northwest was again the Renegade. So you guys, with your newest member of the family, took the big crown.
Yes, the new Renegade is a great new Jeep, and getting off to a great start here the last month or so, being available in dealerships just now, and great reception with with our Jeep customers. It's our smallest, most capable SUV that we've done of that size ever, and it's really doing well. It's a pure Jeep, very recognizable with its, round headlights, trapezoidal wheel openings, its 7-slot grille. You can tell it's a Jeep from 50 miles away, but when you get in and drive it, it's got great on-road handling and gets great fuel economy, 31 miles per gallon, and of course, it's got great four-wheel drive capability. So you guys put the Trailhawk through its tests and let it shine in its kind of its natural environment off-road. So it was, again, great to be recognized as the overall winner for the Jeep Renegade.
I think one of the things, Jim, that really impressed us, and Sean and I were both out there test driving these vehicles, but the fact is that we know the vehicles that can make the rough off-road course, that we have the extreme course. And initially, the Renegade was not entered into the extreme category. The extreme category was sort of reserved for those vehicles like the Wrangler that kind of get knee-deep in mud. But the Renegade got on that course, and even though it wasn't entered into that category, they said, the guys from Jeep who were at the event said, look, we know we can do this course. We're just going to show you what this vehicle can do. And everybody got to drive it around the extreme course and were blown away with this little vehicle that could do so much off-road.
Well, it's good because, the people look at it and think, it's a small Jeep, it's front-wheel drive, it's got great ride and handling, amazing fuel economy. Maybe there's been some compromises, but as you can see from the result, there is no compromises. It is a true Jeep. It's got active drive, a four-wheel drive system that lets you use the select train dial on the center console to dial it into the condition that you want. The Trailhawk, it's got a 20-to-1 crawl ratio. So for your listeners, that basically means you can put extra power to the ground with a multiplier of torque, and it really can go anywhere. And then that four-wheel drive system is so sophisticated, it actively manages the torque, like we try to point out in the name called active drive, but it will put the power to the ground, and it'll put 100% of the power to any one wheel that needs it. So, if you've got 3 wheels buried in mud or in snow or on ice, we'll transfer the power over to the one wheel that needs the most grip, and it'll keep the Jeep moving forward in almost any circumstance. So it's really a very solid Jeep four-wheel drive system to use in any circumstances.
Jim, always one of our favorite people to talk to. Congratulations on winning the overall and both of the categories that the Jeep was entered into. And they're in dealerships now, right?
Yes, they have been on sale for just about a month, Nick, and doing very well in the showroom. And we're stocking up our dealers, and our customers are really excited to see them hitting the lots. And it's a great addition to the lineup for us at Jeep.
Perfect. Jim Morrison from Jeep, thanks very much. Now, let's turn to some of the other categories that we talk about on the show here that were in that Mudfest competition. The premium compact utility vehicles. This is the luxury end of what we consider to be the compact vehicles for off-roading and outdoor activities. Entered into that category was the Buick Encore, the Land Rover Discovery Sport, the Lexus NX 200T, the Mercedes-Benz GLA 250, and Volvo's V60 Cross Country. And winning the category for premium compact utility vehicle was the Land Rover Discovery Sport. New vehicle from Land Rover. On the phone with us now from Land Rover, Bobby Burns. Bobby, what a great win for you guys to win your category, and what a great vehicle to come out of the gate with, the Land Rover Discovery Sport.
Hi, Mick. Yeah, we're pretty excited to kind of kick off Discovery Sport at something aptly named Mudfest. That's a great place to be. So we're not even on sale with this car. You guys are kind of the first kids on the block to get some drive time with the vehicle. So we'll be on sale with it next month, and this is kind of a great kickoff to say, it's truly a Land Rover. We're in great company on the off-road course with Jeep that speaks to our heritage as well. So, thank you for the recognition.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the vehicle, because super impressed with this. So, Land Rover have been successful mainly in the United States with their bigger vehicles, with the Range Rovers and the LR4, but never great success, although very capable vehicles, with the smaller vehicles. And this Discovery Sport is kind of a rebirth of the smaller Land Rover vehicles in the United States. Now everybody's moving to more economical and smaller compact vehicles. This is very similar to the Evoque, but you changed the rear suspension to get extra seats in it, didn't you?
We did, yeah. So, Evoque kind of kicked it off for us. It showed there's definitely a market for that smaller SUV. Evoque maybe filling the sporty niche on road. I mean, it's a go-kart but still has the off-road capability. But people were still looking for maybe a little more room, and that's exactly what you talked to with the a smaller SUV to have that 7-seat capability. I think is going to be a big plus for this vehicle.
Absolutely, definitely in a compact vehicle as well. Now, it's got a 4-cylinder engine in it, but that engine doesn't mess around, does it?
No, it's pretty neat. I mean, I'm a big fan of really big, dumb engines, and we do that as well. Or really small, efficient, smart engines, and that's what this turbocharged 4-cylinder does. It's tame. It has good low-end torque, believe it or not, for the off-road, as you guys witnessed. But very efficient, quiet, smooth. I use the word with this vehicle, easy. It's just an easy vehicle, whether off-road or on-road.
I came up with the phrase the vehicle is kind of bored with the course, because it went through the extreme course and it was just like, yeah, this is nothing. Guys, can you throw something at me that's a little bit more challenging? But one of the reasons it does so well is that 4-mode terrain response system, right?
Absolutely, terrain response. It kind of takes some of the goal with Land Rover vehicles is to make it easier for the driver, whether on-road or off-road, and terrain response contributes to that. Select the modes, look out the windscreen and say, hey, we've got mud and ruts in front of us, pick that, and the vehicle adapts to that. It picks the appropriate gear, it damps down some throttle input so we don't get wheel spin. Really, really fine-tunes the vehicle for the conditions, and I think you guys saw that. You're right. I think I was a little bored there, so we're looking to come back when it maybe rains a little more up there.
Excellent. Now, let's talk about those gears, 9 of them, right?
Correct. It's a 9-speed automatic. So, again, to make that vehicle kind of casual on the highway, so it's not a frenetic engine at highway speed, and also to give us that lower gear selection for off-road. We don't have a low range in this vehicle, as we talked about earlier in the show. So, it's got a low first gear to be very capable off-road in the conditions it should be in. And kind of just limps along on the highway at a very casual pace with a 9-speed.
And it's really nicely decked out on the inside as well. You guys did a great job of making the car feel plush, and especially with the extra row. I find a lot of times with these smaller vehicles, you get very cramped into that extra row, but you gave plenty of room for those people in the third row.
Yeah, it's a kind of a jigsaw puzzle to fit so many people in a small package like that. But I think the expectation on the Land Rover name is some, certainly luxury. I think we're lucky enough to sell down from the Range Rover image.
All right,
that expectation carries through everything we build.
Well, we're coming up to the news, Bobby, but tell us price and on-sale date of the Land Rover Discovery Sport.
So sale date will be later in May, and then we started about 37. You can work from about 37. The vehicle you drove was probably mid-40s or so.
Now, sold. I'll take one. They're great for the price, and really glad that we have a small member of the family that's so capable off-roaders. Of course, it has Land Rover on the hood, so it's capable off-road. Bobby Burns from Land Rover, thank you very much. You're listening to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles. Coming up, we're going to talk about some of the other winners in the other categories. Do you know what the Northwest likes? We'll tell you what the journalists voted as their outdoor activity vehicles, and they chose from 3 other categories. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. I am Nick Miles. We're talking about Mudfest and the vehicles that were in Mudfest, which is the Northwest Activity Vehicle of the Year Award. 25 journalists approximately spend a couple of days out there in the Olympic Peninsula test driving all these different vehicles. So let's go over the categories once again. There was compact utility vehicle, family utility vehicle, the premium compact utility vehicle, and then the premium utility vehicle. So really what we did is divide everything up into large and small, luxury and non-luxury. There was also extreme capability, and there was the pickup trucks. Now, so what were the extreme capability vehicles? The Ram Power Wagon and the Toyota 4Runner TRD. And in the pickups, it was the Ford F-150, the GMC Canyon, Ram's 1500 EcoDiesel, and Toyota Tundra TRD. But before we get to those, let's find out this morning's fun fact. Who's doing the next one?
Here's a fun fact to impress your friends. After the Second World War, a battered Jeep that survived 2 beach landings ended up with a Purple Heart.
That's incredible. I never heard of a Jeep getting a Purple Heart. I know dogs have got Purple Hearts, by the way, and I didn't know a Jeep had ever got a Purple Heart. All right, so let's talk about those categories, the two that we haven't talked about, the extreme capability and the pickup trucks. The winner of the extreme capability, and there was only two vehicles entered in that, even though the Jeeps did the course, the Ram Power Wagon and the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. Both extremely capable vehicles. There was one vote between it, and the Ram Power Wagon won. In the pickups, the F-150, the GMC Canyon, the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel, the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel won that one as well. So the trend was that Ram was really showing off their pickup truck capability and their extreme off-road capability. And joining us on the phone is my friend Nick Capper from Ram. Nick, do you have any more room on your shelves, or have we taken your last trophy spaces?
No. You never take any of this for granted, especially when you have 20 some automotive journalists who come in and vote your pickups top trucks. But 5 years ago, Ram became its own brand, and it separated from Dodge. So to focus on trucks and vans specifically, it really helped us. So look at us 5 years down the road, and we're delivering on everything that's important to the customers, whether it's capability or fuel economy in the different segments. So we've been very fortunate, but you just can't take that type of thing for granted.
Now, did you think that the Power Wagon was going to win the extreme off-road?
Well, the Mudfest actually had a really tight and very technical course. It actually tasked the driver more than it tasked the vehicles. The Power Wagon has front and rear lockers, a 12,000-pound winch. It even has sway bar disconnect systems and 35-inch tires, but it's built on a full-size 3/4-ton truck, crew cab long bed. So it's a really large vehicle to take through the trees such that the Northwest generally has for off-roading. And then throw into that some water puddles and some slippery surfaces, some side hilling, and you really have a situation where it really tasks the driver. The driver has to utilize every little bit of their capability to monitor the corners of the truck. And it actually creeped really through there. We found ourselves threading the needle many times.
Now, I noticed that going through that course that there was some slippage, so we can be going up a hill at an angle on the, let's say, the right-hand side, and if you didn't get it right, the truck could actually slide back down the hill, and that would have been a disaster with trees, but it managed not to do any sliding, right?
Yeah, in those cases, it's about what the driver knows, and fortunately, a lot of folks at Mudfest had been there before, yourself included, had some experience in that kind of terrain. But in those situations, there may be a root ball on the right side of the truck, and you're climbing the left front up a wall, only to let it slide down, utilizing physics in a way that you can't maneuver the truck. But the truck actually just generally slides a little bit and rotates itself around the root ball. So most people out there, I think, were generally surprised that such a big beast would be able to make it through such a technical course.
One thing I really enjoyed about driving the truck was it didn't feel like you were driving a 3/4 truck through these tight woods. It felt smaller than it really was, and it just handled everything perfectly. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Nick.
If you got the link coil rear suspension system on there, too, it's a 3/4-ton truck, so it actually rides really nice as well. So it may not feel like it's as edgy as it could be. A lot of people really started the extreme course in the Power Wagon, and if you can run a course like that in a big truck and do it without touching anything, then you can pretty much drive anything through there.
Now let's turn our attention from the Power Wagon to the other vehicle that was entered in there that won from Ram. So Ram walking away with 2 wins, just the same as Jeep walked away with 2 wins, and that was the 1500 EcoDiesel. Now, this is a vehicle I'm ultimately very familiar with. This vehicle is actually probably I think it is the oldest American truck on the market now, because since the 1500 came out, there have been a refresh there's been a new F-150 and a new Silverado, yet it still wins the awards.
Yeah, we've been very lucky with that, and I guess going back again 5 years ago, the engineers sat down with the product planners and the finance guys and said, what do you need to build the best trucks? And we threw an 8-speed transmission at it, air suspension, a diesel engine, the only diesel engine available in the half-ton segment, which is something that the customers have been clamoring for forever, and a number of other features that really put us on top. And even the Ram box. And a lot of times we find that customers are buying our trucks just because of an individual feature, whether it's the Uconnect system or as I talked about, the air suspension system or some towing feature. There's really some categories that are most important to truck owners, and we own the titles in those categories that are most important. Capability on the 3,500, 30,000 pounds, and that's a lot of weight. It's hard to say. It's like saying 5 million light years, but it's like towing 4.5 African elephants. It's a lot of weight. And on the power side, it's 865 pound-feet of torque, which is ludicrous. Oh, my gosh, that's a lot of power that you can put behind a dually 3,500 Ram. And then, of course, payload is 7,390 pounds. And then fuel economy, as you're talking about on the half-ton side, is the number one reason that people are buying a lot of these trucks. And we're hitting 29 miles per gallon in a full-size truck. And that's not just like an EPA number that people are having a hard time hitting. People are actually beating that number. I think that you had a positive experience on your long-term loan yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, if I was sheepish and I did freeway miles, I did a lot of coasting and hypermiling, I've hit the 35 mile a gallon mark in that vehicle. Now, of course, it's hard to maintain, but I can definitely do it for short periods of time. But 29 was absolutely realistic. But one of the things that amazes me most about this vehicle, we know Ram's capability, we know their history, we know that they've dominated. And by the way, if you didn't know this already, the Ram 1500, according to a map which was put out by Yahoo Autos in the last few months, is the number one selling vehicle in Oregon. Period. The number one selling vehicle in Oregon, the Ram 1500. So we know all about its capabilities, but you guys have branched out. Not only are you doing work vehicles that can haul, tow, and do everything else a work person would need them to do, you're also doing vehicles that can double as a family vehicle. You're making the interiors clean. You're going with higher trim levels. You're doing leather, Wi-Fi hotspots, high-end Uconnect systems, and that's because that's what the customer's asking for, right?
Yeah, if any of your listeners are out there even considering buying a crossover or a truck or somewhere in between, we're actually absolutely seeing a large volume of people making that switch for exactly that reason. Trucks are no longer stripped down vinyl floors with crank windows and manual locks. You have all the features and creature content that people expect from even sometimes luxury sedans. The pricing on a truck can range anywhere from $23,000 up to $60,000. And that's just in the half-ton segment. That just gives you this wide range. There's really no other automobile or out there that shares a platform with so many different configurations: two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, crew cab, reg cab, and then, of course, all the powertrain and even gear selections on the truck.
Absolutely, Nick Kappa. We congratulate you again for winning for the extreme vehicle category with the Ram Power Wagon and winning with the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. Great wins for Ram at Mudfest this year. And Nick, we'd have you back anytime on the show. Thanks very much for participating.
Thank you, Sean. Nick, thanks for having us on the show.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Coming up in Test Miles, we'll talk about the one category. We'll recap Mudfest, and we'll talk about the overall winner, who deserved a win, who got a win, who didn't get a win but maybe deserved it. That's all coming up. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Live from our studios in downtown Portland on a Sunday morning, this is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you, by the way, too, for being part of the Car Nation. For more interesting fun facts, you can join us on our Facebook page at Test Miles ENT, Test Miles Entertainment. And fun fact time, Sean.
Here's a fun fact to impress your friends with. The very first Dodge Viper engine was borrowed out of a Ram van.
That's quite frightening when I think about it, too. All right, so we spent this week at Mudfest, or the last week at Mudfest, talking about and driving and finding out about all the latest outdoor activity vehicles. There were 6 categories and 7 winners. So there is a winner in each category and then an overall winner. The one category we've not talked about is the premium utility vehicles, and these are the full-size luxury SUVs. There were 6 of them in that category: the Acura MDX, the BMW X5M, the BMW X6M, the Cadillac Escalade, the Mercedes-Benz ML400, and Volkswagen's Touareg which I think is not always necessarily a premium. It could be in the family. But
the
class.
price for it makes it up there.
Yeah, but so Sean, tell me what you thought about those 6 vehicles.
Well, obviously the M5 or the X5M and the X6M, they killed it on the track, but we weren't allowed to take them off-roading because of their summer tires and low profiles. They would have issues in hitting some of the potholes, so we didn't take those off. But they killed it on the track. But I love the Acura, and just with all the technology, and I believe that the MDX is one of the best all-wheel drive vehicles out there. That was my pick for winner.
Now, that was the difficulty between us because we were just talking about what we voted for because we got a single vote in this category. Again, I'm in love with that X6M. It's an unbelievable vehicle. I really like the Cadillac Escalade. In fact, I'm pretty much in love with all the vehicles in that category. Really surprised by the handling of the Touareg. The difficulty for me was between the Touareg and the Acura MDX, but that MDX is they've got something really right at Acura.
Yeah, they do. I just you don't realize how well their all-wheel drive system is because you think of all-wheel drive vehicles, you think of Subaru, obviously Rover, but Acura, they have it. They know what they're doing.
The biggest problem with that vehicle, I think, the one letdown for it is its infotainment system, and it's one of the problems I've had with Honda, even down to their Bluetooth system. Is you have to hit a button to transfer a phone call from your phone to the heads-up unit. It doesn't do it automatically. I mean, you could probably set it up, but it's not intuitive. It's clunky. The information's there, but the user interface is very chunky with that vehicle.
Yeah, I've had problems with Acuras. Like every time with my Bluetooth, I get a phone call, it disconnects it somehow. Like I answer, it disconnects, and then I have to go back through my phone to connect it back with the Bluetooth. But
it was incredibly well put together, and it did well on the off-road. One of the problems that we actually had up there in the peninsula when we tested them up in Washington State was, as the day went on, we're putting several hundred miles onto these different roads as cars drive through them in the mud and through the woods. And what ended up happening is some of the water was washing away the banks. So what wasn't a problem when you came into it in the first few hours of testing them, when you went into the water maybe 2 or 3 hours later, there was suddenly a giant hole that we didn't know was there. And you can't tell that with water because it masks any ground changes underneath it. And the problem was we ended up cracking and ripping off some fascia. Now, what we want to do when we hit the water is all the photographers are standing there, all the TV cameras are there filming as we go through the water. So you're trying to make the biggest splash you can possibly make. So you drive up to it with speed, see how high you can get the water. I mean, we get the car covered in mud was kind of the whole day's event. But as those holes developed, we ended up, unfortunately, cracking a bit of plastic. So we had to slow down and test a little bit more sheepishly on the second part of the day. Now let's just recap some of those vehicles that we went through as we climbed towards the end of the show. There were 6 categories. The compact utility vehicle, which is small utility vehicles. The winner in that category was the Jeep Renegade, and the Jeep Renegade Trailhawk took the overall winner as the Northwest's outdoor activity vehicle of the year. In the family utility vehicle, it was the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, very capable off-road on all the courses. And I will tell you, I voted for that one specifically because its on-road performance was so remarkable, even though there was some very stiff competition from Subaru, from Nissan, from Kia, and from Ford. Really like the new Ford Edge, too. The premium compact utility vehicles, the winner in that was, and those are the small luxury vehicles, was the Land Rover Discovery Sport. Once we get into the premium full-size, it was the Acura MDX. And then in the extreme capability, although a lot of vehicles did the extreme course, there were only 2 official entries, the Ram Power Wagon and the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. The vote was split. Almost identical. 1 vote pushes the Ram Power Wagon into the win there. And then in the pickups, it was, again, the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel. Just an outstanding vehicle. So what do you take away from this event as being the one thing you'll remember?
I just had fun. I mean, I loved going through the mud puddles. It was probably one of the best mud fests ever, and I've been with probably 10, 12 of them now.
Right. Congratulations to the guys that put it on. Ryan Douthit, Twan, and John Vincent. They did an amazing job of putting it together, as well as Jerry Smith, the guys from the Northwest Automotive Press Association. My hat is off to you, gentlemen. What a fabulous job. All right, off to test drive the new Honda Pilot this week. I'll talk to you all about it next week when Test Miles returns. Join us on all the social media. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.